Treshawn Gause has made a name for himself here in Lebanon. That name is Turbo. The Leprechauns point guard stops by for an episode 126 chat about basketball, but also about diabetes. Turbo is diabetic, and he's doing his part to shake the stigma and help others live their best lives. Episode 126 starts now.
Welcome to the Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to lebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Love and Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage. I am the Community Development Director here with the city. We are talking with Turbo. We've got Treshawn Gause here with us on this episode of the podcast, talking kind of twofold in this episode, as you will enjoy here in just a minute. But Turbo, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast postseason for the Leprechauns.
Thank you for having me once again.
And hoping we were going to be talking about Leprechauns making a run in the postseason and things going well, and didn't quite happen that way. And you're not bummed about that at all. Just kidding.
Yeah, no.
How tough is it to watch the playoffs going on right now in the TBL and have the Leprechauns not be in it?
It's tough. It's tough watching the playoffs, especially not being in it, coming from last year in the playoffs, and now just at home early and just watching the team take something that you think is supposed to be yours. So.
And it's got to be especially difficult, too, because some of the teams that are making runs are teams that you guys hung with during the regular season, right, and even knocked off a couple different times on occasion.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, especially like the St. Louis team. They beat Kokomo, our rival, and we beat them our last regular season home game. So, but at this time, anything can happen. This is when people are playing their best basketball and stuff like that, so.
And usually, you want to. Last year was the first year of the Leprechauns starting off in the TBL. You think, kind of a humble beginning type thing, and a season two, taking that stair step, that getting some momentum, seemed to kind of go the opposite direction. There was a lot of momentum. You made the playoffs, as you mentioned, and then this year not so much. What needs to happen in year three to be able to kind of step back and then take a running start and jump a couple steps in year three? You think?
I just think. For year three, I think just adding some more experienced guys, understanding roles a lot more. It's kind of tough because, we did have some good pieces, but, I just think overall we just didn't click, and just especially click at the right time at those key moments. But I just think definitely just adding some more experienced players and stuff like that would kind of help and gel in with like some of the guys with the team now.
One of the positives had to be the fans. Lebanon, once again, up near the top tier when it comes to attendance. And even though the wins didn't come, it was great to see the people come out and fill seats and be able to take in some Leprechauns basketball.
Oh, yeah. One thing I know, especially by playing from last year and this season, is the fans going to come out to support no matter win, lose, or draw. They just want to see you play hard. And they just enjoy coming to the games. The kids, the parents, the people from Crown Point, they always show support and love to us. So that's one thing, as a Leprechaun player, that you always going to have the fan support.
That's got to be awesome. Yeah. And folks, we're talking with Turbo, Treshawn Gause, one of the captains, one of the leaders for our Lebanon Leprechauns. You're going to go back and forth. Arkansas is where you call home, but your home away from home is right here, and we're happy to hear that. You're going to be kind of splitting time back and forth during the off season. Did I hear that right?
Yep. So obviously I came from Arkansas, but also here engaged in the community a lot too. So I'm going to be going back and forth, because my family is still there, and I have some people that I'm very close with, and I train as well back there. But Lebanon just took me in, embraced me, accepted me, and stuff like that. So, I'm decided I'm going to stay here too as well. So just try to make it work going back and forth, but still being here at the same time. With
the goal being ready to rock and roll when it comes time for season 3 for the Leprechauns next season, you're going to be ready to do that thing one more time?
Yeah.
At least one more time?
Yeah. Number 3. Year 3, which is crazy because it just seemed like I just got here last year.
There are going to be some changes, though. Looking at, obviously, roster things and along those lines and stuff that we don't control, but also you've got to be able to see the changes that are taking place in our community. And one of those looks likely where Hickory Junction Fieldhouse will be complete, and that could be the new home for the Leprechauns. You got to be excited about that. An athletic venue exclusively designated for athletics and all those things, and not having to split time at the high school and kind of going back and forth, regulation court, all those things.
Right. Yeah.
Got to be excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for, especially having our own facility, where we can come in there, access, get up extra shots, don't really have like that time limit where you can be only in here for a certain amount of time, but just having that arena vibe, like that's a good feeling. I mean, athletes at all ages probably love that, the lights is different, the court feeling is different, the rims, the goals, it's like you playing in the NBA kind of, especially with that big arena type of feeling. So I'm excited for it.
And that's got to give you kind of a, help you puff your chest out a little bit, knowing that this is a pretty big venue. And this is a pretty big deal. And obviously you played in some pretty big venues during your collegiate and now professional careers. And so that's got to be a shot in the arm for you.
Yeah,
to be able to think about doing that.
Definitely, yeah.
What else does your off-season workout regimen consist of that makes sure that you're staying in peak physical condition, ready to hit the ground running when it comes time for training camp for the Leprechauns next season?
So just like I said last year, just going off the season, it's certain things that I did well, and then there's certain things that I know I need to keep focus on just to help me reach and become the best player I possibly can be. But off season this year is just definitely just keep getting up a lot of shots. Obviously, this past offseason helped. My three-point percentage went way, way up, which is a good thing. But that just shows the time and effort and the focus that I put in this offseason. So just trying to keep getting that up and staying consistent with that. Also, just working on my body, keep staying in the weight room, getting stronger, just working on different muscle groups, stuff like that. Just working on finishing with contact as well. But overall, just stay to my foundation, At this point in my career, I know who I am as a player, my identity, but it's just keeping those same foundations sharp, but trying to add a couple new things into my game as well, just to keep growing as a player.
And health and wellness has been a very important part of your game and your life and really your livelihood, because things that you're doing, and we'll talk about your social and kind of what you do off the court a little bit later on the podcast. But something that I didn't know about, and you reached out to me and wanted to, we pushed it out to a number of different TV stations, and sadly it didn't get picked up, but would like to talk about it now. The health and wellness part of your regimen includes diabetes. And if you can kind of talk about that, folks, I'm sure you didn't know, like I didn't know. This is something that you dealt with in college and deal with now, and you want to help get the word out about being able to take care of yourself in that way. So we appreciate you doing that. Yeah. But what was it like being diagnosed with diabetes and a peak physical athlete in college, playing collegiate basketball, and finding this out?
I would say at first I was scared because I didn't know what it was. It's not hereditary. Like, I wasn't born with it. It just came out of nowhere.
What led up to it?
I really don't even know. It was literally just, I remember once I graduated high school, it was just like 1 week, literally just on a Monday. And I started having just weird symptoms, like I was urinating a lot, very dehydrated, heartburn, headaches, fatigue, nausea. It was just one symptom after another, and I just thought I had the flu or something, like
monos. I mean, something along those lines.
I didn't even know. Like, like my body just felt weak. Like, I can just feel day by day, like hour by hour, like I was just sick and sick and sick. And so my sister, she was actually diagnosed when she was in elementary school. So I thought it just skipped me. And my mom, my dad, my grandma, my cousins, nobody has it, not even type 2. And type 2 runs heavy in African Americans, but nobody in my family on either side had it. So when, like, that week when it just, like, the symptoms and stuff was just coming up, I just thought I was just sick. Like, I was just like, maybe I just got the flu. And I really didn't say nothing to anybody because I'm like, maybe I just got the flu. But probably by like that next week, I'm just like, Mom, something not right. Like, and so she was just like, well, let's get your blood sugar checked. And then I remember we checked it, and on the meter, it just said high. It didn't have a number on it. It just said high. So I really freaked out because my sister looked at me like, uh-oh, because she already knew what was going on, kind of. So I'm just like, okay. So we went to the doctor, and we did a couple tests, and I came back and was like, yeah, you're diagnosed with type 1. And, like, I just freaked out. I was sad, like, because it was just like, I didn't know if I was going to play basketball again. I didn't know. I never knew what it was. I heard about it, but I didn't really understand what it really was. And especially somebody at what I was doing as far as like working out daily, exercise, and my body looked great and stuff like that. So I was just like, am I going to be able to play sports? I didn't know what it was. There was so many thoughts running through my head, especially I just signed my letter of intent. I'm about to go to school. So I'm just like, man, like, they're going to take my scholarship away. Like, I'm not going to be able to go. And so, yeah, but I got introduced to a great endocrinologist, which is a diabetic specialist. His name was Adam Moss. And my sister was going to him before, but I'd never really been to him or seen him. It was never any reason for me. But when I got introduced to him, they did a couple tests on me. And some tests came back negative. And then some came back positive. And so they was just like, this is so rare. Like everybody looking at me, I'm coming in the office. They just like the people at the front desk, they just looking at me like, what is going on? Why are you here? Like, so I'm like, what is somebody with diabetes supposed to look like? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so, I mean, they gave me insulin and my body reacted in a positive way to it. So I was just like, okay. He kind of explained to me like, look, you can play and do what you love for as long as you want to, as long as you manage it, take care of it well, because he was an athlete. His wife was an athlete, and so he gave me kind of that confidence, like to be like, okay, I still can do this. But still being fresh with it, I was still kind of shy and didn't want to tell people and let people know, like, I'll go run off or like take my medicine or check my blood sugar, because I was like, I wasn't embarrassed, but I kind of was, but I was just so shy because it was just like, I went from doing everything I wanted to, didn't have to worry about what I eat, like, to like, okay, now I gotta be kind of careful. Like, I'm scared, like, if I eat this, will I fall out? Like seriously, like that. It was just so many thoughts running through my head and stuff, because once I like start trying to research stuff on my own, I seen like the negative stuff of it. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? But like I told people who I was real close with, like, hey, I got it. But like just random people or just like, new people that I meet, and like, no, I didn't really say it. But what really kind of, I would say, made me like really like talk about it, I guess, a little bit, but not like, I didn't really go like how I am now with it. Like when I started getting into college, like obviously I had to start letting my coaches and them know, so they're aware of it, the athletic trainers and stuff like that. But just dealing with it, I guess, like being an athlete, it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was hard, but like just trying to manage everything and like playing games, road games, traveling and stuff like that. But the biggest thing was just like staying consistent with checking it, keep checking it before I eat, before I play, halftime, after the game, like before practice, during practice, after practice, like during the day. Like, so like that, I would say that was probably like the most challenging part, like especially early on, just like staying consistent with just checking it, because you got to poke your finger. Then before you eat, you got to inject your medicine. You know what I'm saying? It was just like needle after needle after needle after needle. Like you poking your finger, you sticking it in, like, in your body. And I'm just like, man, like this is tough. Like, because it's like once that needle, it hits you and it's like you get comfortable at putting it in that place, but it's just like somebody hits you there, it's like, man, it's sore. Or if you put it in the wrong spot and it hit that nerve, it hurts, like really. So it's just like that part of it was just so draining, and it's just like, man, like I just want to go back to being normal. I ain't got to do this stuff anymore. And, because like your body is sore in certain places, like that you're injecting into that, then you play in the game, you get hit right there. And then it's like when it goes down, you got to learn how to bring it back up. Again, it's like when it's down, you get like this overdose, like high feeling, like heart start racing, like things is kind of like echoing, slowing down. Like you're like, man, what's going on? But that's when I have to bring it back up to get some sugar to balance it back out and stuff like that. So when I started going to college, I text my doctor a lot. I text him a lot just to try to send him my numbers back because I wasn't there with him, so he can like okay, this where you at. Okay, change your medicine, take this much now, or increase it by this much now, stuff like that. So it's numbers involved with how many units you take and like the corrections that you have to do. And I know this might sound like rocket science to a lot of people that don't know what it is, but this is just what I have to go through on a daily basis to be able to do what I love still and still live a healthy life, you know, because it is it's not hard once you get the hang of it. It's just about being disciplined, how disciplined you are.
That's what it's complex.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's a lot of
you have to
checking.
be very disciplined because it is a lot of negative side effects that come with it. Like it's the number one leading cause to blindness in the United States, like losing limbs, you know, and that's kind of why I picked my major in college was exercise science, because I was dealing with this now. So I wanted to go in depth to like what this really is. How are there ways to help me last through a season now? Like what vitamins and minerals and supplements and food groups can I eat to help me as a diabetic type 1 athlete, you know, not just a person, but an athlete, because if I'm not involved in sports, I don't have to deal with that banging, bruising, possibility twisting ankles, and you know,
Get hit
stuff.
on that spot, like you
yeah,
mentioned,
like
yeah.
you know. So it's just like, what can I do? Like, how can I be fresh still through a whole season? And I remember my freshman year, it was just like, man, like I can tell the difference now from me in high school to me my first year in college, playing through a whole season now. And it was just, I started doing a lot of research at night just by myself. I took it upon myself, like, okay, I'm finna look up vitamins that I need to start taking, because I never thought about taking vitamins before. I can get up, jump, run, play basketball without even stretching, you know? So it was just a lot of vitamins. I started taking magnesium, iron pills, vitamin D, just stuff like that helps with my immune system and bones and muscle density and all that stuff, because my body stopped producing insulin. And insulin is a hormone that releases from your pancreas and your body. And so your body produces that already. Automatically when you eat, digest it, it automatically releases insulin. Mine doesn't anymore. So that's where I have to take my injection shots and stuff like that. But it's just like changing my diet, watching what I eat, how many carbs are in that, learning how to read labels and stuff like that, man. It was crazy, but it was just like, I knew I wanted to be a professional basketball player still, like, and my goal never changed. Even though I was shy, I still knew where I wanted to be. And I think like now, just like learning how to manage it and having a good team of doctors around me, a support system and stuff like that. And I know what kind of brought it to my attention, like, I really need to talk about this, is this past summer, it was a kid who I met, and I was kind of training him like a little bit here and there, and I'll see him at the gym a lot. We'll just work out and stuff. And he was like, I got to tell you something. I'm like, what's up? What's going on? And he was like, I have diabetes. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, so do I. And he was like, really? I'm like, yeah. He was like, but you're like muscle tone, like, you know, he's probably like in 7th, 8th grade. And I was just like, yeah, but you play basketball too though, right? Yeah. He's like, but I'm kind of shy. I don't want to talk about it. And he was like, I'm kind of embarrassed. I was like, you don't need to be. And then he was like, you think I can do what you do? I'm like, yeah, you can. He was like, really? I'm like, yeah. And his whole mindset and his confidence, I just seen in his eyes, like, it changed. And then, like, I kind of just kept it to myself, but it's really dawned on me, like, a lot, like, especially coming here this year and then talking to one of my best friends who's, like, my marketing agent as well. And, like, you know, me talking to him about it, he was just like, bro, like, you can change people's lives. He was like, I don't really think you understand like how big of an impact that you have and like what you can do like for the world. Like, and then like I was just like, yeah. And then like I was just talking to him. He was like, see, you're doing it now because it's just like second nature. Like you don't even think about it. You're just Trey being Trey, Turbo being Turbo, you know? It's like, but a lot of people don't have that confidence, like that presence, that aura that you have, and you're doing something that people dream about doing. Like you turned your dreams into a reality, but you still have diabetes and you still can manage that. And he was like, bro, that's impressive. Like, you know, he was like, that's very impressive. And I really didn't think about it like that because, you know, like I've just been doing it for so long. It's second nature now. So I didn't really think about it like that. But then, I'm like, man. And then that's when I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, I gotta, like, what good is it for me to consider myself and call myself and people look at me as a professional athlete, but not have that responsibility to take on and by being a leader vocally, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and spreading the awareness and giving people confidence that if they don't have confidence in their stuff, like how I do, and I'm not embarrassed anymore to talk about it and to just give inspiration if I can, and what he said, I really can change people's lives. I know who I am as a person. I know who I am as a player, like, and I always was taught to be a leader, you know, and this might be my way to lead universally, you know what I'm saying? And just give people out there that don't have confidence, or people because there's people probably out there thinking about committing suicide because they can't deal with trying to be that disciplined, or they think it's pressure to inject themselves where their lifestyle is changing because they're getting diagnosed with that, or if they lost a limb or something like that. And it just gives me extra motivation, you know, because it is people out there that wish that they can do what I'm doing, but they probably lost a limb or something like that. So I don't take it for granted. Like, I know I have to stay on top of this because I know there's negative side effects that come with it. But by that being said, I'm going to try to spread the light and awareness and give people that confidence, hope, give them that swagger, you know what I'm saying, about themselves. And even if they're an athlete and dealing with it across the world, man, you can be whatever you want to be. Like, you can be a professional athlete as long as you're mindful and you're staying disciplined, you know, and you're trying to live that healthy lifestyle and managing it well. You can play or do whatever you want for however long you want to, you know. But it's just up to you and how bad you want to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it's going to come down to, because you can control what you can control, and that's checking your blood sugar, making sure you taking your vitamins and putting the right stuff in your body and watching what you eat and stuff like that, because that's just where I'm at in my life. And like I said, I was shy before, but now it's like I'm not afraid to talk about it or share my experiences with people at all.
It's so funny, folks. We're talking to Treshawn Gause. He's Turbo. You may know him as Turbo. A lot of the other questions, to be honest, on my list for this podcast episode, you answered right there. It was, you know, ever think about just giving it up? You know, just saying, forget it. I can't do this. My dream. You answered that by really meeting that challenge, but also being able to, you know, why be that kind of spokesperson for diabetes awareness, and you check that box also, and can just following up by your boldness and also your ability to build relationships. I mean, and being able to cherish someone, to be able to talk to that kid that was 7th or 8th grade, to be able to kind of give him a shot of confidence. I mean, some people, when they find out they have something like diabetes, other illnesses or maladies, and having diabetes, you might be able to, you know, put it in your pocket and kind of keep it a secret. But I think if there would be a spokesperson for diabetes, you'd fit the bill because of your ability to be bold, be willing to have a crucial conversation, and being able to just speak truth, speak life into others, and give them that confidence. I mean, you are uniquely wired to be able to be that person. I think it's pretty special.
Yeah, I'm trying. I would just love to try to get sponsors, endorsements, you know, behind it, because like I said, I know who I am. I know I have that ability to change people's lives, you know, just by talking to them, you know, or like just by seeing, like, for an example, when you turn on the TV, it's like diabetic commercials that come on. They talk about just different medicines or things that you can try to help manage it, but you never see anything from the athletic side. You don't see any athletes on there.
Like maintaining life, but not necessarily, continue to do what you want to do.
And it's different by having an athlete on there that doesn't have it and have an athlete on there that really is living with that. And I know I can be that person, like you turn on TV and it's just like, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that, because I know who I am. Like that's just what it goes back to. Like my confidence, my swagger in myself. Like I believe in myself, and just having that's something that I'm not acting. Like I really live with this, and this is who I am. And I'm not scared to talk about it or anything like that. And so just by having an athlete on there, active professional athlete on there that's living with it, and it's somebody who's a youth, high school, college, person, kid, male or female, that's living with it, that's scared, and that commercial just might change their life.
Is that why you're doing this? Is that why you reached out to wanting to hopefully get the word out, that type of thing?
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly why, because I've never seen any athletes on commercial or on billboards or social media and stuff like that really promoting it, or any brands having any athletes on there promoting it. So I just say, why not me?
And a lot of stereotypes with diabetes, and I'm guessing your goal is also to help break down a lot of those stereotypes and bring that conversation topic out into the light.
Yep.
And being able to not make it a whisper conversation, but like a real volume conversation.
A real volume conversation, because you're a person, like, you're a human. Like, you don't have to be embarrassed of it. It's a lot of people in the world that are scared as well, and shy and embarrassed to talk about it, because I was one of those people at first.
From experience. Right?
I know from experience, yes. And, when I tell people that, I'm diabetic. Just like your reaction. What?
What? No.
Like how?
Yeah.
And then my answer is always, well, what do you think somebody with diabetes is supposed to look like? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just always that. I laugh all the time, because that's just a lot of people's reactions to it. But I just want to be someone who can spread the light and the awareness, and to help people just gain that confidence to just not be afraid.
And if someone's listening to this podcast and they want to ask you a question, how do you deal with this being an athlete, or how do you train while having to deal with, a lack of insulin and low blood sugar and all those things? You are pretty accessible on social media. Is that something they can reach out to you on social media to get their questions answered, just like you had your support staff of your doctor that you could text and things along those lines? Are you able to be that for people that might be listening to this?
Definitely. You can reach me at Tre_Turbo on Instagram, and my training page is Silent Grind Training on Instagram as well.
Okay.
So one of those two you can reach me on. I try to be active and respond as fast as I can sometimes. But yeah, that's the two platforms. The two usernames and tags, you can reach me at.
And as we mentioned, you're going to be going back and forth between Indiana and Arkansas. Yep. And so you'll be at the Witham Y. So if people see you out and about and have that question and want to do it face to face, you're pretty approachable.
Yep.
Pretty approachable guy.
Just like you said, I'm at the YMCA, personal basketball lessons, do basketball skills clinic. I know in July I'm going to have a lot of camps and stuff like that. So shooting camps, dribbling camps, just team-oriented basketball IQ type of camps and stuff like that, starting in July. So also, if you want to do personal training and sign up for clinics and camps, just contact the Witham YMCA here in Lebanon, Indiana, and just ask about the camp, and they'll give you the information there. Or you can email me.
Turbo, thanks for being here on the podcast. Appreciate it. Thanks for spreading awareness and breaking down the end of the Leprechaun season. This was kind of basketball. It took a back burner, kind of topic number 2, but want to bring up you battling diabetes and being able to thrive even after the diagnosis. So appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
And safe travels back and forth. How many times you make that back and forth trip. But we look forward to seeing you later on in July, and then when the Leprechauns tip it up once again.
For sure. Thank you.
And everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. All of Tre's info that he talked about, his social media platforms that he has, the pages, and also his email, contact info at the Witham Y. We'll put that all in the body of this podcast, so you've got it. You can contact him, ask questions, and just stay informed. Stay in touch as well. Thanks again for listening to this episode. We'll chat again soon.